Education Committee of the NAACP. Before we begin, I would like to make sure that you keep your microphones muted so it will not disturb our presenters. There will be a question and answer period. And during that time, please unmute your microphone, ask your question, and you can also submit your question in the chat. Make sure that you mute yourself back so we won't disturb the rest of the presentation. At this particular time, I would like Mr. Ian Brandon to talk to you about the new links that we have included in our presentations. Mr. Brandon?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Ian Brandon, the Satellite Office Supervisor for JCPS, and welcome you all to tonight's forum. I bring greetings on behalf of Dr. Marshall and the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty. One addition Ms. Patrick is mentioning is the survey we would like each of you to complete. It's a brief survey. We want to keep you guys engaged and involved, and your feedback is paramount to the way we proceed and conduct these forums in the future. So I will place that link to the survey in the chat following tonight's forum. So if you would please complete that form for us. Also at this time, I would like to acknowledge any board members that are on the call tonight. I haven't seen any join as of yet, but I'm also looking at a lot of faces, so I don't want to overlook anyone. All right, Ms. Patrick, I will turn it back over to you for the introduction of tonight's speakers.
Thank you. Tonight, the forum focuses will be on student celebrations with Justice Now, Girls on the Rise, and the Black Student Union. Our first panelist, our speaker this evening, and I will introduce all of them, but I want to talk about the first one, and that's Mr. Greg Van. Mr. Van serves as an associate for the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty for JCPS. He presides over the Black Student Union and works with Black males to various capacities throughout the district and looks over the Manu Daniels Scholarship Fund. He currently leads a racial trauma cohort for JCPS staff to assist them in becoming racial trauma advocates for students and works with many community organizations to ensure that Black students have the support they need to be successful. He is the member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity and serves on the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana and the Louisville Youth Philanthropic Council. We also are just proud to have Mr. Matthew Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman is the 2020 Kentucky High School Teacher of the Year and the 2020 Funds for the Art Equity Award winner. He is a co-founder of Justice Now, Learning Hubs in JCPS, where the mission is to empower students to be the change as we make Louisville our classrooms and justice our curriculum. He ran for the Kentucky State Senate in 2018. He is supported by his wife, Stephanie Kaufman, and their daughter, Rosa Sophia Justice Kaufman. Our third panelist tonight will be Ms. Nyree Clayton Taylor. Ms. Taylor is a resource teacher for JCPS. Her focus is to engage, enlighten, and educate students in her creative writing classes. Ms. Clayton believes teachers can help students find their purpose. She understands the power of letting students be their authentic selves and offers them the tools to enhance their talents. Ms. Clayton Taylor has been recognized for her service in the community by the Louisville Metro Council and has presented at many conferences in and out of the state of Kentucky. Ms. Clayton Taylor is very proud of her accomplishments, but she is most proud of knowing the students of Jefferson County will lead their way using the curriculum of Justice Now to create change in the community. And our final panelist is Ms. Selena R. Fishback, serves as the director of the Louisville Teachers Residency in the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty with Jefferson County Public Schools. And she also leads 2 programs created to honor the voice of girls of color within JCPS, Girls, Gifted Girls, and Girls on the Rise. Ms. Fishback earned her Bachelor's of Science in Elementary Education from Western Kentucky University in 2007 and began her teaching career with Jefferson County Public Schools. Ms. Fishback has continued her education at the University of Louisville, earning a Master's of Education in Counseling and Personnel Services, and is now pursuing her Doctorate of Education in Educational Leadership and Organizational Development at the University of Louisville. She is the 2021 Bingham Fellow with the Leadership of Louisville, a 2018 Class Act Federal Credit Union Hero of Education, and serves on a number of committees and task forces at the state level to attract, recruit, hire, and retain teachers who are more closely related, who most closely reflect the racial, ethnic, and linguistic diversity of the student body in the state. These are our 4 panelists tonight, and we're going to turn it right on over to them to get the vital information they have for us.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Greg Van. As she stated, I'm an associate of diversity, equity, and poverty. I know I only have 10 minutes to speak, but I have 3 important things that I have to say after those announcements, after those introductions. One, with that racial trauma cohort, I want to shout out my coworker, Ms. Jasmine Drinker. She's on here as well, and I couldn't do that without her, so I want to make sure that I shout her out for being here and helping me with that. 2, I feel so bad because when I heard my brother Matthew Kaufman's introduction, it said he's supported by his wife and child. So now I know I have to add in my bio that I'm supported by my wife and 3 children. So I want to say that. And then also my picture that they showed was about 40 pounds ago. I got to take another picture, but I just want y'all to know that it is the same person. I just lost 40 pounds. I am proud of that. So that's why I said that. So jumping right in, we'll talk about the Black student unions. I'll just give an overview of the Black student unions. So starting out with the mission and purpose. The mission and philosophy of the Black Student Union organization should be to help students strive for academic excellence, promote positive images of African Americans, and help students become an integral part of JCPS school community. So we know that a lot of times in our curriculum or our everyday lives in schools for students, they don't always see the positive images of African Americans. So that's something that they strive to do, to make sure that they become a supporter of students as far as academics go. There should be liaisons between the Black students and JCPS staff and leaders and advocate for student needs. You see on this picture right here, this is from Male High School. This is their Black student union meeting with their school leadership team and them expressing to them, you know, their thoughts on being Black in that high school, things they would like to see, things they like. You know, one thing that Dr. Polio, our superintendent, what I appreciated from him is when he met with the sponsors and presidents last year, he told them that they should have the opportunity to meet with their school leadership. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be able to do that every week or even every month, but if a couple times a year, if you want to, if the BSUs want to talk to their school leaders about their experiences in school, that's something that he supports, and he wants to know if they're not able to do that. So a lot of the school leaderships have been very supportive in that and allowed the students a voice. And, you know, they do want change a lot of time, but the thing that I hear the most from the students, they get so excited about them just giving them the opportunity to talk and for them to listen. And even if everything doesn't change overnight, it's very important to them that they have their voices heard in the school. And of course, to provide a safe space for Black students to improve their sense of belonging in school and in the district at large. I go to BSU meetings every week at different schools, and I always hear the same things from students. I always just ask, tell me what you think about BSU. Are you happy you have one? If so, why? They all say, I'm happy that I have a place that I can talk to other students that look like me, that experience the same things I experience every day. And anytime any white students are present, they normally say, I had no idea that my Black peers felt like this until I got to this BSU, and now I want to be an ally and help them push this work forward. Okay, so impact right now, we're in 28 middle schools and 26 high schools. We have had some attrition and things of that nature because of staff members getting new positions and switching schools and things of that nature. But we've had more than 600 students to attend meetings this year. Some BSUs are stronger than others, so this became a paid position for the first time last year, but in some schools, they've had it for years. So like this picture right here from Central High School, they have a strong BSU and they've had it for years. I was at PRP today. They have a very strong BSU, but not every, some schools have less students because they just started theirs this past year. And we look at a lot of data points, a lot of stuff we do as educators, but there's certain things that can't be put into a data point. So I know I only had 10 minutes, so I have a quick 30-second video just so you can hear from a student about what they feel about the BSU.
Before I went to a predominantly white school, and I couldn't really connect or relate to these students because they didn't go through the same issues. And whenever I came to Fern Creek and I joined the BSU, I could finally meet a group of Black students that could relate to the daily issues that we face in our lives. So I really wish that every Black student has the opportunity to join a BSU and find that connection and find that community.
So I hear things like that every week, but it's important whenever I get a chance to talk to other people for you all to hear that as well, because I know there's a lot of people who don't see the need for BSUs, but there is a need for it. And that's just something that if you go to any BSU, you'll pretty much hear that same sentiment. And also the impact is that they make their communities better. So how have I made my community better for Black people? At the beginning of the year, when I talk to the sponsors, I tell them we do a culminating project for the end of the year. So the students work toward something, and what they work toward is keeping in mind what can they do to make their community, whether that's your school community, your community that you live in, the whole city of Louisville. How can you make it better for Black people? So they do a lot of things in their BSU. It may not necessarily only affect Black people, but they look at it through the lens of being Black. So right here at the top, you'll see a BSU. They got winter clothing for the homeless, and they did Black hair products for their peers because some of their Black peers couldn't afford it. So they want to make sure that they had it because they believe, if you come to school and you feel good about the way you look, then it's a better chance that you're going to learn when you're at school. So when they do stuff like that, they look at disproportionalities in homelessness. How are Black people affected by homelessness? And that's just an example of what one high school has done, but a lot of different schools did that same thing. Right here in the bottom left corner, this is Wagner. So that was PRP right there. This right here is Wagner High School delivering hats, gloves, scarves, and winter clothing to King Elementary. So they want to do that for Black students in JCPS. Some of them went to King Elementary and some of them have family members and they know kids to go there and they knew that there was a need. So they got with the counselor and they made that happen to get them some stuff. Right here, this is from Dawes High School. This is just a picture of a Black History board. And the reason I put this up is because a lot of the Black History Month programming that happens in JCPS, a lot of that comes from the BSUs within the schools. And this picture right here this is from a BSU meeting I attended at Grace James Academy. That's Ms. Shashree McCormick, and she was talking about HBCUs. So they looked at the map of where HBCUs are, their impact throughout history, why they're all pretty much located in the southeastern part of the United States, and they dug into that. So that's just an example of what is talked about in a BSU meeting. Okay, so opportunities for students. Some of these events have already happened. So this AC2 boot camp was something. What we realize is we want students to attend these meetings, but it can't be them just attending the meetings. We wanted to really make sure that we bring value to the students for them participating in the BSU. So right here was a program that we had, an ACT boot camp, to give students tips and strategies to pass the ACT. That's something that already passed. And then we had a free college application fair. We had schools to come in to recruit Black students to their schools. So those are two things that already passed. Today at PRP, we had the incomparable Hannah Drake to come speak about becoming an activist and express an activism through poetry. So that was a great event. The school leadership attended that as well. So it was good for the students to feel supported by having their school leaders come to the meeting to hear her speak as well. And then coming up on February 16th, this is an event we're having, and I would love for you to email me to get login information for this event. We'll have Dr. Bridget Burpo from the University of Louisville speaking about HBCUs. their funding, their culture, the HBCU experience. There's a movement right now within JCPS and students across the nation where they all want to go to HBCUs. So she's going to break that down, what it looks like and what it takes to actually get into one. So that's an event on the 16th, beginning at 3 o'clock. So I would love for you to attend and spread the word for that. And I can email that flyer to Ian and we can get that to you, but feel free to email me and I can put my email in the chat as soon as I finish. And last but not least, if you would like to continue to keep up with us, here's our Twitter handle, BSU of JCPS. And we try to post the things that are coming up and the things that are going on within BSUs right there on that Twitter account. Of course, our DEP, JCPS DEP1 Twitter account as well. We post things on that. And then you can always email me for more info. One thing that I've tried to add on, if you search Black Male Achievement on the JCPS website, you'll see stuff like scholarship opportunities. And this is something that I'm trying to build up for students. So we have some scholarship opportunities for students. So any kind of resources that you have for students, I would love for you to email me. And any kind of questions you have, you can do that as well. So I know that there will be a time for question and answer, but that's all I have for right now. And I'll turn it over to, I think, Mr. Matthew Kaufman, and I'll retire.
Thank you, Greg, and good evening, everybody. I am one part of Justice Now. My name is Matt Kaufman. It's my honor to talk to you all this evening. We're housed in DEP. You've heard our mission. It's to empower students to be the change as we make Louisville our classroom and justice our curriculum. We talk about justice now, and when we named this, we were thinking of Dr. King's fierce urgency of now. That now is not a time for apathy or indifference, but a multitude of positive actions. In the case of the work we do in JCPS and throughout the community, it's a multitude of deeper learning projects. And so we're working with a lot of schools, a lot of community members, and this is our second year in Justice Now right now. We had our kickoff last year in January 2021. This is the list of the schools that we are currently working with. So if you see a school on this list, high school, middle, elementary, it means that school is leading a Justice Now project or it's collaborating with another school with this. When we talk about this work, we want to create today's citizen lobbyists, today's nonprofit leaders, today's entrepreneurs, and tomorrow's legislators. So we're taking the work in the classroom and moving it out into the community because we know everything happening in the community is impacting our students. And they have a lot to say. This is all about student voice and student agency. On the very right-hand side, you'll see another group. These are groups that don't belong to one school, but to multiple. So we have a district-wide Black Student Union group that Greg Van also leads, and they got an exciting book that they're working on this year to publish. Also the Young Prodigies, you'll hear from Nairi in a second, who leads them, and the Mighty Shades of Ebony. Both those groups, Young Prodigies, Mighty Shades of Ebony, would encourage you to Google them. We have 4 cohorts, and so when we talk about justice projects, we want our students to identify some kind of inequity or injustice in the community, and then to develop a solution and to find quantitative and qualitative evidence this issue exists and that there's a solution that they can push forward to create some change. So this revolves around acceptance and equal rights for all people, where we're linking arms with everybody and moving forward. It revolves around environmental justice, revolves around educational justice, and it revolves around community investment and reform. We've got some umbrella terms underneath of each of these to give you an idea of what some of these projects are. It doesn't include everything, but gives you a little window into what some of these projects are touching on. And what is, so powerful about these projects is they don't just happen into a classroom, that they happen and they're launched into the community. And when we started this, we realized we need a powerful definition of justice. And so we fully embrace and spread Dr. Cornel West's definition of justice. Justice is what love looks like in public. And so these kids are leading that. They're showing that they have solutions. They're showing that, they know the systems they've inherited and they're ready to fight against it. And so we've got a pipeline of justice leaders, JCPS leaders, teachers, kids, all working together, linking arms, moving forward. This is our big culminated event. This was a 1-minute clip I'm going to show you from Justice Fest last year. If you Google Justice Fest, you can watch 7.5 hours of content that was live streamed. That's a lot, but you get to see all the details of the presentations there. Here's a quick window. Can y'all hear that?
No,
Okay.
got to touch the green button or something, I think that's it.
When you hit
Oh,
share
goodness.
screen, you gotta hit share audio.
Okay, y'all. Share audio. If I throw this link in the chat, Greg, can you share it? You know what you're doing on this?
Yes,
All right.
and don't feel bad, man. I'm sure everybody has experienced a technical issue on Zoom. So let's see if it works. Which one?
There's the link in the chat right now.
It took me to a Google Drive.
Ah,
No.
hold on. Try that one.
No.
There's a new one in there, Greg.
Okay. Here,
I
Yeah.
define justice as equality for all genders and races.
I define justice as treating everyone fairly and equally and celebrating everyone's differences.
Meeting everyone's needs and respecting and not putting people down.
I define justice as treating everyone fairly and with equality.
I define justice as community and a group of kids teaching others and helping others.
Like a big open home to all.
The overcoming of hardships.
Fighting for what you believe in.
Freedom and equality for all.
Us all working together as a community.
Having equal rights.
Being each other and respecting each other.
I didn't expect all those people to actually get with us and do these things that we asked for.
We're actually finally getting our voices heard.
It also allows students to learn more and actually turn their attention more towards their passion.
Thank you, Greg. So justice work is collaborative, and just like, you just saw, like, we need to collaborate to have success sometimes. Where one person falls, another can pick it up. We have a lot of schools working together. We've got partners with the Kentucky Derby Festival Foundation who host Justice Fest for us. And what I wanted to give you is just a window into some of the projects that have had massive success. So you saw the students say, we were surprised, everybody listened to our ideas. Those students at the end who were talking wrote this play called Threads of Our History, Where We Intertwine. And at Justice Fest, what they pitched was, we wrote this play. It involved a bunch of other schools and kids. We want someone to put it on stage, on a big stage. Well, Actors Theater stepped up. Actors Theater is like, you know what? Not only do we want to put it on stage, we want to build an 8-week camp that is free for JCPS students to come to and really hone their craft in theater. And so this full-length student-written play, and I put Roots 101 on here too. Lamont Collins and Roots 101 had a huge hand in helping us write this play and understand the history that can be often hard to find. As we did include Black Walnut Street and going deep into the Derby on this also. But this play is going to take the stage at Actors Theater on March 25th through March 27th. It's going to be an all JCPS student cast. And with this, you can read the description here that it's examining, Louisville through a justice lens, past and present. And it's written through a series of vignettes, each written by a different student or group of students that focus on an array of topics from race-based oppression and protest to ableism to mental health to LGBTQ plus community and adoption, to generational trauma and healing, also journeying into Louisville's rich cultural past with scenes in Black Walnut Street and the Kentucky Derby. It's also a window into students' lives today, as they brought their stories to this and put it in a bigger context as they strive for justice and compassion on their own journey. Over 50 students were involved in this elementary through high in writing it at over 10 different JCPS schools. Another major project is a book we're going to be publishing. This started at a middle school, Johnson Middle, Iroquois High School branched onto it, and then a bunch of other schools are also writing on this now. So we have a publisher, it's the University Press of Kentucky. It's going to be a full color book that teaches about justice leaders past and present throughout Kentucky. And so I've been working closely with students as they write these. These are the slides they presented last year at Justice Fest. This is one of the reasons they said this book is so important to us, that we're going to create the text we wish we had. This is another reason they said this was so important to us, and they're going to create the text they wish they had. So this book will be available in JCPS libraries, schools. We're creating a curriculum to go with it. And as students started engaging in research, they didn't know A.D. King lived and worked here. And so now they're doing that research. And then it's an exercise in empathy also. So they're writing as if they are A.D. King, and then doing all of that research and synthesizing it together to tell his story and his journey. Also, every single piece, has a format for having pronouns, years of their journey, and then also a question at the end to promote conversation. So you can see here his question as he fought for housing rights here. Do you think housing should be a human right? There'll be a quote on one spread and a lot of student created art. So I'm just showing you a few of the pieces these students are working on. We have the first female African-American police officer in Louisville, Kentucky. They're focusing on, Ann Braden, wide variety. And this is some of the art. All of this art right here was created by Iroquois students. This is what created by a Moore student. This is created by some Moore students and then some Ballard students. All this was created, this piece on the right from a PRP student, and all these three pieces were created by a seventh grader at Johnson Middle. The kids are very, very interested in bell hooks, especially after her passing. They were in the middle of collaborating on her piece, and now they've all really started diving deep into her work. One other project I'll tell you about before I pass it on to some students who will show you their work is Tricked Out Trash Cans. And so this has been a campaign where this group has launched a music video to spread awareness of how, we don't see trash cans in historically redlined and Black communities like we do in the Highlands or in the East End or in Old Louisville. And this is a mental health issue. This is an anti-littering issue. This is a physical health issue. It's property value. It's all kinds of things. And then when I muralize trash cans to beautify the community and raise environmental awareness. So you see their issues, their mission statement here. It's a creative outlet for kids. They want to inspire, an anti-littering campaign. They're targeting red line neighborhoods that have disproportionately higher rates of littering. They're going to muralize these trash cans to really celebrate these neighborhoods and really create an environmental awareness campaign with this. As part of their project, they created their own website. That's up there if you want to learn more about this group. There's some pictures of them. They have all kinds of amazing music videos, just a really awesome group. And we're going to see Tricked Out Trash Cans everywhere in Louisville soon. I want to learn more about these projects. I'll give you my email down the road. That's a small window. But now it is my deep pleasure to introduce you to the future ancestors. And future ancestors, if you just say next, I'll change your slide for you.
All right, cool. Can everybody hear me all right? All right,
Yeah.
cool. So the third member who is supposed to be coming in today is unfortunately having some technical difficulties. So it'll just be me and Montrell here today. So just to start off, my name is Jamia Fletcher. I'm the Associative Director of the Future Ancestors, and I'm a senior at Wagner High School. And Montrell, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Montrell Bragg. I'm a member of the Future Ancestors. I'm the first male member to enter the group. So yeah.
All right, so just to start off with a brief introduction of who we are as a group, we are a student-led and majority woman-led group based out of Widener High School. Most of us are Black women and Black people, so our own individual experiences with injustice has definitely shaped who we are and inspired us to work towards change in our communities. Especially the Breonna Taylor tragedy was one of the really eye-opening thing to happen, so that we all just kind of, felt like we needed to do more. So yeah, you can go to the next slide and we'll talk more about our race for justice.
Yeah, so we are, as she said, we're a student-led group, and we created a marathon for intersectional justice for all things like Black trans teens or Black trans people, disabled people, anyone who meets any type of discrimination, but many discriminations is what I would say. And I apologize if I'm like repeating circles. I'm a little nervous. So yeah, we created a marathon for just intersectional justice, really. You can go to next, Kaufman. With this marathon, we raised over $13,000. We've also gained support from the Louisville Urban League with 6 nonprofit partners like the Louisville Bell Project, the Americana, Queer Kentucky, and others. We interviewed local leaders like Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur, Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey, Marty Polio, and Charles Booker. And just recently, we were accepted to present at a conference in San Diego, which we also raised over $8,000 for that separately. So yeah, we're doing big things.
Before you go to the next slide, I'll just briefly kind of explain our race a little bit more. So it will be a race event, and we plan on having 5K loops to hopefully add up to 26 miles to have a full marathon, each mile dedicated to 1 year of Breonna Taylor's life. We also plan to have a corresponding event to bring the community together and just kind of encourage everybody to just kind of come together and really understand each other on a deeper level. This race is really for people who feel like, people who feel like they have a message, but they don't 100% know how to get that message out. And we just want to, welcome the community with open arms and kind of give everyone an outlet to educate about social injustice. So yeah. And you can go to the next slide. So here is our contact information and our social media. I know we only had like a couple of minutes, so we had to keep it short. So if any of you guys would be interested in reaching out to us to, discuss the project further, or maybe setting up some sort of meeting to just get kind of more information on our race, we are really trying to get our word out there. And I know there are a lot of teachers in the room, so we want to get a lot of students involved. We want to get as many people in the community involved as possible. And we're focusing with the route mainly in the West End, and we really just want to kind of highlight the rich culture that exists there. So we're trying to really incorporate our community as much as possible. So if any of you guys would like to drop your contact information and learn a little bit more about us, we would also, gladly share more about our project with you all.
If y'all wouldn't mind, just unmute yourselves and like clap for these kids because they're amazing.
Yeah. I don't know, Mr. Kaufman, if you know it or not, but there are some amazing comments in the chat room. I guess everyone's just being quiet because we asked them to, but there are some amazing comments being written in the chat for you all.
I think there's some questions too that we can answer at the end, because we're supposed to present and then answer questions at the end. So make sure you save those questions for us.
And the students might be leaving because they got a lot to do. But you could email me and I'll connect them to you. Their teacher might be here and he can drop his email here, Ryan Davis, or Jamia or Montreal. If you want to drop yours, you can. I know they would be very interested in partnering with the NAACP, and they want to get this work out to as many schools as they can. And they're going to be presenting at this year's Justice Fest on March 5th, along with the rest of the projects. This is an invite-only event. We're going to be having some high-def recordings of every single pitch we'll put out. And so this is going to be happening every year. Justice Fest isn't a competition. We got bigger enemies, and this is what we're getting together for with. It's about community investment, transforming student work into widely funded community partnership, infrastructure, and uplift. It will allow students to showcase their work, recruit more local and national partners, maybe you on this call, and grow awareness of the injustices we face and show how we can be the change in our communities. You want to talk more about this, and maybe you're not part of this now with your school, but you want to be next year? Email me, email my partner, Nairi. We'll be in touch with you, and we'll continue to build this together. Next up,
I think he said the wonderful, beautiful Nairi Clayton Taylor. I think that's what he said.
The
Is
one
that
and
what
only.
he said? Two snaps? No. Okay, let me share my screen. So hello everybody. I have some music playing for y'all. Hear that? Do y'all hear that? Good. That song is called, does anybody know? No?
The main message here is that they want to
It's
see
right there. It's bigger than, it's the bigger picture by Little Baby. And so the reason why I use that song is because that song really resonates with the students that I am in contact with on a daily basis. When I brought that song out, they went crazy. And Miss Nairi, how do you know that song? Well, because I know Lil Baby. That's how I know that song. But it's a wonderful song just because in 2020, our eyes were open. Some of us prayed for perfect vision. And what did we get, everybody? What did we get in 2020? Y'all have to talk back to me. What did we get? What did we get in 2020? You prayed for perfect.
Voices heard. Some voices were heard.
Yes, we received perfect vision, and our glasses and our tape was ripped off of our eyes, and we were there to see everything that went down in 2020, from Breonna Taylor, from George Floyd, from COVID, from the impact of students, especially African-American students, being taught online and how some of them were unengaged. We were given perfect vision. It wasn't the vision that some of us that we wanted, but we were given perfect vision. And so that is why we do this work with Justice Now, Matthew and myself. And part of the reason that we do this work is because of the work that we've always done in the classroom. And so when you see this intersection, students, this is what they saw. They understood justice. They understood it. They were marching. A lot of them were at Breonna Square every day. Were they supposed to be? Who's to say? But they were there. Our students were there. Guess what else was there for them? Especially our African-American students and some of our students of color and our white students. Guess what else was there? Hip hop. Hip hop was there. And I love hip hop. If some of you, I did not even introduce myself, did I? Well, my name is Nairi Clayton Taylor, and I am the co-sponsor of Justice Now, and I am a self-proclaimed hip hop ed teacher. And when I say that our students have hip hop, they have it. It's in their ears all the time. And that's why I use that song, The Bigger Picture. Our students, they understand justice because of 2020. They understand hip hop. And it's up to us to allow our students to have student voice, especially when it comes to education. Somebody wrote in the chat, they said, does this mean that you go against the curriculum map? No, you don't go against the curriculum map. No, I'm not advocating that. But what is in the curriculum map? Whatever's in the curriculum map, you can still use hip hop. You can still use justice. You can still use what our students go through in order and for us to teach our kids to the very best of our ability. I want to read this line to you from Lil Baby. It says, protests growing. Protests and growing national outcry continues over the death of George Floyd. Last night, people protesting in Minneapolis escalated as demonstrators were lashed by tear gas and rubber bullets. The main message here, the main message here, the main message here is that they want to see those officers involved. They want to see those officers arrested. Officers arrested. And then he goes to say, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And this is what I want to talk to you about. Many of our kids that are sitting in our classroom are telling you that they can't what? What are they telling us?
They cannot breathe.
They cannot breathe. They're not able to express what they are feeling.
Yes, they are not able to express what they're feeling. I can't breathe. Why can't students breathe in the classroom? And the reason why is because we need to allow our students to have a voice. One of a student, Matthew, I cannot think of that student's name, but Matthew quotes this young lady all of the time, that students are the least involved when it comes to their learning, when it comes to their curriculum. But we know in 2020 that they were out in the streets protesting. We know that our students, what they face on a daily basis, we understand. And so for us to cover up their mouths and not allow them to have a voice is unfair, and it is not a beautiful sight, because our students deserve to breathe in the classroom. Why can't students breathe in the classroom? This is some students that I interviewed, and this is what they said. One student named X, he said, I can't breathe in the classroom. He said, when I am ignored by my teacher, it's like my questions can't be answered. They're not challenging me. Erin, a young lady at another school, said, when my teacher doesn't hear me, that's how she feels that she's being silenced in the classroom. And then she said, yelling in my face, not treating me like I'm human. She said, that's how she feels like she can't breathe in the classroom. And we have to make sure that we're doing things, using the right curriculum, reading the right books, giving them the right ways to show their voice to ensure that our students can breathe in the classroom. That's why I have this up. Does anybody know what this is?
Wildin', 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 wildin'.
Wildin'. This is wildin' out. Some of you said, well, how am I going to be able to let students breathe in the classroom? Now, some of you probably don't know. I don't know. You probably do. I'm not in your homes, but I love this show, Wildin' Out. Nick Cannon. He has a black team, he has a red team. And what they do, they what do you call it? They throw, they throw jabs at each other with rhyming words, right? And so in this game, it is pure beauty and it's fun, and my students love it. And so how are we able to incorporate a game like this in the classroom? Well, I use this game, and the game is called In the Classroom. And in this game, kids are in a circle and they're just making a beat in the classroom. Hey, I get lit in the classroom. And so you have to remind them, okay, if I'm using lit, please don't say the other word. think of some other words that you can say, but this is a way that we can use our voices in the classroom and utilize what our students already come into the school knowing. And so I have a question for you all. Do you all want to see how we are allowing elementary students to breathe in the classroom? Do you?
Yes.
Are you sure? Well, guess what? I'm going to show you some. Here we go. So, Foster Academy. How are they breathing in the classroom? Well, they are writing a book, and that book is called Black Lives Matter Because. So they are going to explain to you why Black Lives Matter. And not only are they going to be able to explain it to you, they wrote poems about why Black Lives Matter. And then they are going to create 24 by 18s. We found this out today. That's the size they need. Signs to go in each of their residents' yards with their poems on them that they've created with their face on it. So they're showing their community why Black Lives Matter. Look at that, elementary students. Oh, we're not finished. We have Mill Creek Academy, Leadership Academy. These students said that houselessness was a problem at their school. They dug into the data. They figured out that 28 families at their school were 28 families at their school. Those students were facing houselessness. They understood, they found out why you say houselessness versus homeless. They found out all this information, and guess what they're doing? Guess what they're doing, y'all? They are going to provide a house for a houseless family at their school. Not only are they providing a house for a houseless family at their school, guess what else they learned about in this process? What did they learn about? Come on, tell me, what did they learn about?
Financial literacy.
Fundraising. Oh.
Yes, they learned about financial literacy, and they learned about home ownership. They learned about home ownership. They learned what it takes to own a home. They had to do math. All of this was curriculum based. We were doing math. We were doing all of this because they had to create a budget. So now what they're going to do next is offer home ownership classes to see if teachers and parents at their school are ready to buy a home, and they're going to lead it. These 5 students, that's what they're going to do. They are on the path to having wealth already at the ages of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 5th graders. They can breathe in the classroom. But we're not done. My school, Wheatley Elementary, decided they want to tell others about gun violence in the community. And how are they going to do that? They have started a project called Hoodies for Hope. So you will get a hoodie, and you will see they fell in love with Ja'Cory Arthur's speech that he did about everyone's responsible for Louisville. So they asked him personally if they could use some of his speech to put on a hoodie, and they're going to sell that hoodie, and they're going to give that money to local nonprofits that that fight the violence in the community. And they're creating the hoodies. They've gotten the stats, and they've done all this work, and these students are doing that. And then we have another group from McFerrin Preparatory Academy who said they just want their voices heard in the curriculum. And so what have they done? They have decided to write not essays, but use their talents to show who they admire, and show that even if you use a KWL chart, even if you use a Jamboard, that all those strategies can work as long, and you can still use the people that they like. Guess what, y'all? They had all these people, these YouTube people. I had to find research about them, but guess who found it? It wasn't up to me. it was up to them to find it. I just had to talk to them about if it's a credible source or not. And so they've grounded all this information and were able to tell the life stories of these individuals. And so they will be presenting at Justice Fest, and they have done amazing, amazing, amazing work. I mean, they're going to use animation to tell the stories of these individuals that inspire them. And as you know, I know everyone knows, yes, I do work with the Real Young Prodigies, and the Young Prodigies have been working on the Crown Act, but they also have something else that they have been passionate about. And what they have been truly, truly passionate about here lately is the gun violence that is going on in our community. And do I have enough time? I was wanting to show some of their video. And what I was—
It's about 2 minutes.
2 minutes? 2 minutes? Okay, well, let's see what I can do in 2 minutes. So the Real Young Prodigies have been working on this video, and this video is called Danger.
Young Prodigy. Where I grew up there, I wanna be gangsters. Where I grew up there, I wanna be bangers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be slangers. Danger, danger, danger. Where I grew up there, I wanna be killers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be dealers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be stealers. Be realer, be realer, be realer, be realer. How you 14 but you throwing in B's? Only 16 but you throwing them C's. From victory, so you throwing in V's. Y'all claiming the streets but do not have the keys. Toting them guns and y'all puff nicotine. Baby girl, you need to take several seats. Stop the big talk before they sweep your feet. 5'2", trying to be 6 feet deep. Grew up in the West End, drugs, money, what we flexing. Flex, flex. Everyone carry guns, wonder where we got it from. Neighborhoods low income, this is America, home of the slums. Drive bass like drums. Where I grew up there, I wanna be gangsters. Where I grew up there, I wanna be bangers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be slangers. Danger, danger, danger. Where I grew up there, I wanna be killers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be dealers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be stealers. Be realer, be realer, be realer, be realer.
Everybody wanna be killer. What does that make y'all tough out bigger? Everybody wanna be triller. Y'all be so quick to go pull on the trigger. Then wanna start pointing fingers. Who is your plug? You ain't got no connection. Y'all need to stay at the streets while you packing the heat. You ain't got no protection. But is you bout it for real? You just a kid, so I doubt it for real. Is you a gangster without it for real? Not pistol packing, so clowning for real, sounding for real.
You know it get real, but I keep it real. That's life in the field. They leave you dead, now you bleed cardinal red, and now all of the blood is around you for real.
That's sounding for real.
Bang, bang. At night when we sleep, all we hear is bang, bang. Baby rolling deep in the streets, bang, bang. Young bodies flying, mama's crying, bang, bang. And we just wanna sleep tonight.
I didn't wanna be gangster, bro, I had to start stealing from my family, we ain't had food. Where I'm from, it's like 9 of us to one bathroom. Taking out my anger on my teachers in the classroom. Black brothers out here getting arrested just for selling dimes. Now they in the prison cell and they doing prison time. Officer, please listen to me, I know that he did the crime, but this is all the life we know that we were given to survive.
Everybody wanna be a trapper and a rapper, so I'ma speak the word like Malcolm X. They do not understand this is reality, so I hope they get reality checks. Y'all show us all the wrong things.
This is why all of our mental a mess.
Where I grew up, we got natural born leaders, but they don't all make it. Fly hella flex.
Where I grew up there, I wanna be gangsters. Where I grew up there, I wanna be bangers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be slangers.
Danger, danger, danger.
Where I grew up there, I wanna be killers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be dealers. Where I grew up there, I wanna be stealers. Be realer, be realer, be realer, be realer. Prodigies on the beat again.
Yeah.
Put the guns down and let the kids grow.
Danger, danger, danger. Danger, danger, danger. Danger, danger, danger.
So what I just want to say is that we have to allow our students to use their voice the way that they know how to use their voice, and that we can't stifle that. Thank you so much.
Nari, where's the album at? Where can we access? Where's it at?
Oh, well, you know what? It's going to be actually the video release. Y'all got a sneak peek. The video release is Sunday. It's the last Sunday in this month at the Speed Art Museum. So, yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're gonna turn now to Miss Selena Fishback, please. Are you ready for us?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I am. Good evening, everyone. I am Selena Fishback. I am actually by title, and my main role in the district is director of the Louisville Teacher Residency Program. So shameless plug, if you know anybody that is interested in entering the education field, please contact me. But I also lead the Girls of Color Initiative. So I am going to speak to you this evening about the Girls of Color programming. Are you all able to see my screen at the moment?
No.
Okay. Nari, do you mind to stop sharing? Let's see if it'll allow me to share. Almost. There we go. So, all right, perfect. So I am going to tell you more about the Girls of Color Initiative and the program opportunities that we have available in the district. So as you will know, the Girls of Color programming started out with the racial equity policy, essentially. And in the racial equity policy, we have raising the achievement of all students, regardless of their race, gender, household income, and or special education status. So we really wanted to look at the intersectionalities of our students. And what we did is we recognized in doing so that our girls of color felt as though they did not have a voice in the district. And so that was essentially the birth of the programs that we put together to genuinely and intentionally cater to them within the district. And so we have the sense of belongings in elementary schools a little higher at 86%, middle school 73, 74%, and then we're dropping off in the high school. And so what we did was established an elementary program, or I'm sorry, for the testimony of our girls of color, when we were looking into our girls and really wanting to decide or get their voice in what we were creating, what we learned from them was kind of the testimonies and their experiences of what they were having in the classroom. And so one girl said that she felt as though nobody expects a Black girl to be as smart as a white girl in her school. Another one said, I don't know how, my teachers don't know how to handle the situations that I go through or how to talk to me. One said that they refer to her as ghetto, dumb, and she likes to fight. And then another said that I have to go the extra mile all the time. And they still tell me that I'm not good enough. And as a Black woman, I genuinely connected to everything that they felt, right? And it's a little scary to know that what a 36-year-old woman is going through, our 10-year-old girls are feeling already when they're sitting in our elementary schools and our middle schools and our high schools. And so we really wanted to be intentional about creating things specifically for them. So our first program we developed was the Gifted Girls program. Gifted Girls is available at the elementary level, and it is a program seeking to build the character, leadership skills, and enhance the self-esteem in young girls of color. In elementary, we are more so focusing on the social and emotional aspect of the students. What I did was actually develop a curriculum that we are able to share out to elementary schools. They are literally able to pick up the curriculum, the resources, and the guides and implement that curriculum in their classrooms and in their school buildings. And so the way that the curriculum is set up is in units. And in those units, we refer to the skills that we are giving the girls as gifts. So we have the gift of confidence, the gift of vision, the gift of organization, the gift of decisiveness, and the gift of voice. And the girls are able to advance through the curriculum throughout the year There are 18 lessons total that we provide teachers on implementing within the school. Again, it is offered at elementary school. It is written to be best served for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, but we have had elementary schools actually modify the curriculum so that they can offer it to their younger students as well in the classroom. Once the girls are reaching middle school, we're really wanting to dig deeper into their abstract thought and getting them connected to literature, specifically through the lens of a Black girl or a Black woman. And I also want to pause for a moment and say our curriculum is written specifically with girls of color in mind. We are unapologetic of looking at things through that lens, but it's not only for girls of color in the district. And so the student population that we have is actually diverse. You have a lot of students from various backgrounds, various cultures, and so forth, also embedded in those groups. So not only does it allow the girls of color to feel seen and heard, it also allows a window for other girls to be able to look at their experience and really relate to things and see the commonalities that we have between all girls within the district. So in middle school, we are looking at equipping girls with the strategies to think critically and artistically as they explore novels. We are intentional about picking novels that have a Black woman as the main character or a Black girl as the main character. And through that novel, we also explore and integrate social and emotional skills. We integrate math and science, emotional intelligence and leadership, and also social advocacy within the curriculum. For our Girls on the Rise, we started with middle school. And what we found was that once our middle school girls got older and they went to high school, they came back to us and said, hey, what are you guys going to do for us? And so now we extend that opportunity middle school through high school. Part of the Girls on the Rise experience is truly bonding with the adults that are within the program. And so 95% of the teaching staff of Girls on the Rise are going to be Black women integrating the curriculum and so forth with the girls. And so they had that opportunity to see the reflection of them in Black women within the community that can serve as role models, but also a lot of times you will find that we are serving as sisters and aunties, and sometimes, unfortunately, mothers for those Black girls as well. We take them on overnight field trips and experiences so that we can explore outside of the classroom. Our girls have been to Charlotte, they have been to Birmingham, they have been to Houston, they've been to Cincinnati. We actually had a trip scheduled to Atlanta and they are still calling me wanting that trip. We're kind of waiting on the pandemic to at least get us to a place that we are comfortable in traveling. So our girls are always excited and wanting to join us and stay with us. I actually also, like my colleagues, have a video to share with you of the girls and their testimonies personally. If you give me a moment, I will switch over to this video. And see if you can hear. No, let me turn my volume on. Are you all able to hear that? No. Hold on. Give me a moment. I'm the one that showed everybody else how to share sound, and now it's not working for me.
We could hear you, but it was echoing because your other mic was on.
Okay.
Jay Meredith. Who is Jay Meredith?
Here before, and I really like it, and it helps boost your self-confidence. Well, Girls on the Rise, which stands for Revolutionizing Interpretation, designed to equip girls with the strategies needed to think critically, artistically about any text that's put in front of them.
This group is like a girls empowerment group, and it helps us build like relationships with other girls.
This session, we are reading Recitative by Toni Morrison.
What I think about it, it's a good book. Teaching me about how people was in the back of the day.
We go through that text and we identify social issues.
The things we read about people getting bullied, about the way they look, about their skin color, racism.
We've been making like notes about it, and we're doing a project now about stereotypes, which is kind of what the book's based on. And yeah, it's like another class, but I really kind of like it.
For their backpack worthy artifact, they are actually creating kind of like a PSA, but they're using an app called InShot.
I like that one.
That was good.
That one's better.
Yeah, so which one?
That we get to build our self-esteem and meet with people without embarrassment.
The school district has really focused on like African American males, and I think it's important for us to like come together because we need the attention too.
Okay, what's it?
It's right here.
And a program like this helps them to realize the importance of themselves, the importance of not just following along. And then of course, middle school is also that time academically where there's a lot of challenges coming from elementary, but we're preparing you for high school and beyond. So this program helps to instill all of that, both academically, socially, personally, and everything else.
Everyone shows their true potential and shows how they think and interact, and over time they become more comfortable with each other where they're able to share their ideas comfortably.
We are Girls on the Rise!
Okay.
Let's do.
There we go. So as wrapping up for our girls, we do summer and spring sessions of Girls on the Rise, and we are currently enrolling now. And so we have launched out to schools. Our schools are identifying if they are interested in having the program in their school community. And from there, what we will do is collect our teachers and then get ready to train our teachers. I'm sorry. One moment. There is no. Am I echoing? No. Okay, perfect.
Oh, you're fine.
So we train our teachers and then get ready to launch out to the school communities. In closing, what we do is look at our girls to really dig into how they are feeling throughout the experience with us. And what we found is that our girls say they feel welcomed in our classroom environments and summer camps. They say that they've developed a real bond with their teachers and that they are able to share experiences through their teachers, which increases their trust for us. They tell us that they trust us with their lives and that they appreciate us being mother figures for their student or for them. If you are interested in having Girls on the Rise or gifted girls in your school community, I will drop the Google form in the chat to identify your interest. You literally just have to tell us your school, your principal name, and then who in your school community is interested in leading. And I will shoot them the information that we have for our virtual sponsor meetings. And we are having our next one on February 22nd at 4 p.m.
And I want to thank you. I want to thank all of our presenters tonight for sharing what they're doing in the classroom and providing these additional extracurricular activities. I've been looking in the chat and I'm somewhat disturbed because the intent here was not to post blame on anyone. The intent here was to provide information about some good things that are going on in our schools. And I just want to encourage those associates or sponsors. This is a milestone from what we saw last year and what you're doing this year. I am so proud. If I had a child, he would be she would be very upset with me because I would want them in every one of those programs that I'm seeing tonight and hearing about tonight. He probably would never get to go to bed because no, you got to do this or we got to go there. But I want you to know that it is encouraging that you all are growing future leaders. And I'm going to stop talking. But I just had to say that because something was in the chat that caused me to be a little disturbed. But it is not the intent to blame anyone, it's to share what's going on at JCPS. And there are some good things going on there. So I'm going to turn this over for 15 minutes. And any other questions, you can either release your mute button and ask a question, or you can put it in the chat. Let's begin. Well, I guess I'll start with the questions.
I would like to just talk. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of the presenters. And I had the opportunity to work at Wheatley with Nairi. And the job that she does, and I'm right here, Miss Amador. And let me turn on my camera, I'm sorry. And the work that she is doing with, with those kids is impressive and it's amazing. And every time I just have the opportunity to, to see them when I go to the deeper learning, I get very happy, very excited. And I was looking at the video right now and I saw those kids as, they were babies, and look at them right now. And I remember that her room was right at the corner from mine, and I could hear those kids, singing and happy. So I'm really proud of the work that you're all doing. And I would love this to come to my school at some point. So I'm going to reach out you all for more information because it is amazing. So congratulations and thank you for all your hard work and all that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. We will definitely reach out.
And is this after school, or is there any time set aside during the schools? And this is to all the presenters, that these activities take place, because one of the problems with children is transportation. So I remember in my days of teaching, there was something called teacher-based guidance in middle school, where we had an extra period to do whatever we wanted to do, as long as it was a learning time for kids to learn something. And we dealt with all kinds of issues. Is this after school, or is it during school at some particular time? And how can we change that so we can get more kids involved?
I started out, I know with the BSU, some schools do it during the day and some do it after school. A lot of people bring up the transportation issue after school, which can be a hindrance, but also when you do it during school, I don't like one school in particular, since they do it during school, there's sometimes students in the room, because it's during like a period where they're able to do like an optional class. So some students come that aren't necessarily as passionate about it, which can kind of disrupt that environment. So there's pros and cons to doing it after school, before school. Of course, with the pandemic, we've learned how to do virtual, but what I've noticed is a lot of the students, even at the beginning of the year, if they start out doing things virtually, that eventually dies off because this is just a lot harder to stay engaged with this. So we do offer, especially like the BHM programming, a lot of that's during the school time, but it varies from BSU. Some are after school, some are during school.
Okay, thank you. Justice Now, same situation?
I think we always try to meet teachers and students where they're at. So some of the projects happen during school, like the Johnson book that we're working on, Giant to the Bluegrass. I go every Tuesday all day, and I'm working with kids to research and write these pieces. Our teachers across the district are helping them illustrate that. Wagner actually made it a class this year, and that's part of the reason they were able to travel so far with this. A lot of it does happen after school, happens before school. This is work that's really passion driven, and it's interdisciplinary. So right. we take an interdisciplinary approach towards intersectional justice. And all of this work meets multiple standards across all of the disciplines. This is backpack work. This is work that kids remember and take a campaign on for multiple years. And they have choice in it, and the quote that one of our past students says is that, students are the most important stakeholder in education, but the least consulted. This puts them in the driving seat.
Mhm. And for elementary, I am there with the kids during the day, facilitating work. And at Mill Creek Academy, they have a Justice Now class as well. So this work has started to enter into the schools, and the principals are seeing the value in it and providing it for elementary as well.
Like I said, I can see the change from last year and this year, and it's just awesome. It really is. I have another. What kind of training or PD do you all do for those that want to be a part of this, and how does it relate to cultural competency and educational justice and anti-racism? And I'm talking about your training. Anyone can jump in and answer that.
I'll start off on one. I lead a PD entitled Overcoming White Fragility and Becoming an Abolitionist Teacher. And so part of that is recognizing our own bias, that if we're growing up in a mostly white world, reading texts by mostly white people featuring white characters, and we aren't getting diverse perspectives, we might not recognize that kind of privilege. So I share my journey with that. And then we talk about kids' projects and what they can do with that. And that's starting with an issue. What's an issue they care about? You have to build it around their passion. And every single discipline, whether it's science or psychology or English or social studies, can be catered to a way to incorporate a more diverse global lens that can lend its way to projects and to get these classes working together also. So history is in one room and English in another, then math in another. No, you can use them all together to address an issue. And then all of a sudden, students are getting more creative and asking deeper questions. And again, like they're being the drivers of the work. So through DEP, we host a series of PDs all about that and reaching out to community partners, taking it outside the classroom to learn from other experts in the community, and then just collaboration, because kids learn from each other. And we even have elementary, middle, and high school kids collaborate together and they teach each other. Because we're a community and we're all in this together.
There's a question in the chat from one of our viewers that says, I'm wondering how you all handle kids who identify as they. This came up in my summer academic program. How do you all help with those pronouns? Anyone can answer that?
I'll start. I don't want to talk too much. But I'm gonna say I honor that. They has been that's correct English. The singular they, the APA has endorsed that, and so I acknowledge that. I think kids are so generous about their stories, and so I might even ask them, "You want to go by they? Why do you want to go by they?" Because as teachers, we're learning too.
Yes.
But the singular they is correct English. It's in the APA format. We can look that up.
I'm sorry. I asked the question. I'm Kate Lindsay. I run Summerbridge Louisville. What I'm asking about is when I divide the kids up because I sometimes have women come in to talk to my girls and men who talk to the boys. Mm-hmm. So I had a they who identified as a male or outwardly, but should I have given him or them the option of going with the girls? Because it was really dedicated to the females and how they were feeling in middle school. So it was kind of a delicate balance, and I want to respect them. But I sometimes worry about women. We've come so far. And not that I don't want to respect this person, but I worry about sometimes women getting the raw deal when, I don't know. And would my middle school kids feel comfortable talking in front of a person that looks like a male? That's my only concern. Thank you.
I think you need to have a speaker that identifies as they or them. Because, you know, it's because we're not just two categories anymore, you know?
Right.
So I think having a speaker there that student can go to, that can talk to based on his or her feelings will, to me, cover that. Do any of my other DEP associates have anything else that they want to say?
Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I echo Matt when I say that I don't have the answers. I know there's some other people from our department on here that may be able to speak to that a little bit better than we can. So if y'all would like to do that, you can. I would recommend having a conversation with that student and asking, you know, how would you like for me to handle this situation when we have speakers? They come in and it's like a binary thing. And also if they would like a speaker like Nari said that identifies as they, like them, like that, they like they do, then, you know, work on that too. It may be, and I know our department, if they're not on here, we do have people with resources in that area.
Greg.
Go ahead.
Hi, y'all. My name is Avon Cook. I'm one of the anti-racist specialists. Forgive my lack of camera. I've been painting my basement with my husband. So we aren't going to bother to turn the camera on, but very quickly, first and foremost, Kate, thank you so much for your sincere question. There are a number of people in our department who can help provide supports around that. I'm one of those individuals, as is Dr. Monica Laquani, as well as potentially Jasmine Drinkard, who works with our employee resource groups, especially, not especially, but also our ally ERG group. So when we are thinking about culturally responsive teaching, we are thinking about intersectionality, we are thinking about queer inclusive spaces. That is a perfectly valid question to be processing if you're dealing with middle schools. So please, please, please feel free to reach out. We have standing office hours and we can provide you a ton of resources.
Yes, and I just want to echo that too, Kate. This is Jasmine Drinkard, Employee Resource Manager. I think it's important to note, Nari hit the nail right on the head with everything isn't just boy girl anymore. And I think it's requiring a mind shift on, you were doing something very simple as like boys go here, girls go there. So maybe thinking differently about how you sort the children. If you like the color blue, if you like the color pink, go here, go there. And then that way you're not finding yourself in a situation where you are assigning a gender to the child and they are allowing that, you are giving them the authority to assign themselves. So, but yes, you can totally reach out. I'll put my information in the chat as well, Kate.
Thank you very much. I have another question. How do you all know that the students in these organizations are utilizing their skills and what they're being taught outside the school district? How do you all know that? Did y'all hear my question?
Yeah, I heard. I was going to try to give somebody else an opportunity to jump, but I'll say that for me and for our students that we're working with, a lot of them, this is their first time doing anything like this. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of for real. Like being woke or being an activist really just became cool within the past couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff, as far as like learning what it's like to be the president of an organization, the vice president of an organization, doing a fundraiser, putting together a petition, even them learning things about like colorism and homelessness and stuff like that. These are resources that we're giving them that even if they're not using it right now outside of school, I know that it's tools that they're putting in their backpacks, figuratively and literally when we talk about our backpack of skills, success skills, excuse me. These are things that they're gonna be able to use outside of the school building, if that makes sense. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I mean, everything Nari and I do with Justice Now is taking the work from the classroom and putting it into the community. Two of the students from the Future Ancestors you saw, they submitted a proposal to share their work at High Tech High Deeper Learning Conference in San Diego, California. It's one of the most prestigious deeper learning conferences in the country. They got accepted. They're going there. They raised their own money to go there. We've got kids changing laws with Nari's kids, the young prodigies, helping to get the Crown Act passed last year in Louisville. We have newcomer students who are creating a documentary right now showing their journey to America and following them to graduation. So everything we're doing is taking the learning in the classroom, making it more real world, and then and even in Justice Fest, they're presenting to businesses, people that can fund them. They're presenting to community experts. They're presenting to JCPS chiefs. So everything we do is real world, is backpack, and it's something the kid can take with them.
And I would say for the Girls on the Rise and the Gifted Girls, the amazing thing about our programs is that it's not necessarily just academic based. And so it's not the academics that we're looking to see outside of the classroom. It's them developing as women and developing as young girls and becoming leaders within their community. So when we get the phone call of, hey, I have a student at Ballard. She says she was at Girls on the Rise and that you were also her first grade teacher. She wants to start a Girls on the Rise here. Can you help us? That's showing that they've extended that outside of our classroom walls, right? Or when I know a student used to have behavior challenges or whatever challenges she suffered in the school building, and now I learned that she's graduating early and that she's already been accepted into college. That's when we're seeing that going on to the next step. And so really looking at their character development and how they are becoming citizens at the next level is our proof that what we're doing is having an impact on them.
Well, that
One
is,
question.
oh, is there another?
Yes,
Yes.
I have one question, Ms. Patrick. For these organizations, how are they being funded? Are we using district funds, outside funds, and how can outsiders contribute to support said organizations?
With BSUs, the sponsor is funded through JCPS, and I'm able to get funded for programming that benefits all students. So I can't necessarily do anything for one school, but I can do stuff that's open to all schools, hence the program that I showed on my slideshow. But different schools do fundraising activities, and yeah, they do their own fundraising activities. So anytime you would like to donate, of course, BSU would be willing to accept this. So I would love for you to do one. If you live in a neighborhood of a school that you would like to support their BSU, we would love to accept those funds.
The girls program is, I'm sorry.
Just go ahead.
Oh, the girls program is also funded by general funds. And then we have community organizations that at times want to get involved and they make donations. So for example, we had a Saturday session one time and they donated pizza to feed the girls or something of that nature.
Well, that brings us to the conclusion of our questions. And now I'm going to switch to providing you information about the NAACP. And we have a segment called Just What Does the NAACP Do? Tonight, I'm very happy to have Ms. Felicia Garr, who is the she's in the chair of the community operations. And she also works with Goodwill Industries of Kentucky Youth Adult Opportunities Corporation. I believe I got that right. If not, she will correct me. I would like to turn it over to Ms. Garr at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone, or should I say evening? I have exactly 2 minutes. So therefore, I will be efficient and quick. As she stated, my name is Felicia Garr. I'm with the Louisville branch NAACP. I do not assume you know what that acronym stands for. Therefore, it is the National Association of the Advancement of Color People. I am the Community Coordination Chairperson. Our objective is to partner with you, do events, any way we can support you, let us know. Obviously, we are working on voter registration with the voter suppression issues. We're constantly always recruiting memberships. Adults are only $30 a year. However, let me challenge each of you to sponsor a youth, because youth membership is only $10 a year. You can reach me at 502-759-5501. That number has been put in the chat room as well. If you did not know, the deadline for primary registration is April the 18th. And for the general, it is October the 10th. Again, the objective of my committee is to work with you and to help you spotlight minority activities and events. So if you've got an event that NAACP can be there to support, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Felicia Gar, 502-759-5501. It is now 8 o'clock.
Thank you, Felicia. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ian, and he's going to tell you about our next month forum.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick. And again, thank you to all of our presenters and all of you who decided to join in on tonight's forum. Our next forum for March will be March 10th, and the topic is our student handbook. And what you will learn from that is how students with special needs are being supported, some data on student suspension and restraint, and what our multi-systems of supports are. So we will be back here literally in 30 days. Hope to see all of you back with us. And our presenters for that forum will be Dr. Brahim, Chief Chevalier, and Dr. DeFerrari. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Safe travels if you are not home, and we will see you in 30 days. Thank you all.
Goodbye.